With social media being so massive and distracting these days, these concepts, I think every person should live by.
How are you, Dustin?
Doing well. Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
I am so excited for you to be here. And we will be discussing one of my favorite books, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. You are somebody who can be perceived as this gringo, and you are a light of Spanish influence.
Yeah. Really fell in love with Latin cultures, Hispanic culture, and started traveling in college, studied abroad, found my way to Latin America, Argentina specifically, and now here we are. Hablo castellano, hablo en español, en Argentina.
Wow, de todo. And what about Argentina kept you there? What called you there?
Yeah, Argentina. So I'm a really big fan of mixes. I like collaboration, bringing people together, and then something that is new that comes from that.
Yeah.
And I found Argentina to be really unique in a sense that, you know, it had a lot of its earlier settlers from Europe, Spain, Italy, big in Italy. And so that influence is very much apparent in their language and how they speak and their accent. You know, there's this Italian flow and musicality to it. And I found that to be really, really interesting and attractive and just different, you know, and I really like that. So
for sure.
That was the initial kind of love for Argentina, and then their passion, and they're just really fun people.
Yeah.
And I have a long history with them.
I love that. So to the most Hispanic gringo that I know, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So Dustin Luke, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, grew up in the States. First language is English, but after traveling and in college, found my way to Latin America, fell in love with Hispanic culture, specifically Argentine culture. And I'm a content creator, and everything that I do works to bring people together. I have this saying, it's like, más puentes, menos muros. Let's build more bridges, less walls culturally. And that's pretty much what I stand for.
Wow, that's powerful. Thank you for being a pioneer of that movement. It is definitely much needed at the end of the day. We're the United States of America, not the divided states.
Yeah, exactly.
So bringing that union together is powerful.
Yeah, Latino culture is está de moda. It's trending, it's popular, it's famous. And then, you know, being here in Miami, I could perfectly live my two lives in Miami.
Literally.
I can live my Spanish speaking life and my English speaking life perfectly. So that's why this place is awesome.
And welcome to this beautiful paradise, and just being able to lead and mix those cultures together is really, really powerful.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's awesome being here because I get to see a lot of diversity in Latin culture, where before it was like specific Argentina, or I lived there, right? But here I get to, you know, I'm running into all different like cultures and people from different places, learning a lot of different dialects and phrases and sayings, starting to get into dancing salsa, bachata.
Eso, un poquito de salsa. We'll get into that later.
Yeah. So I'm having a good time here.
What made you choose The Four Agreements?
Yeah, The Four Agreements. This book is just so beautifully simple. I think these points that it makes in this book are timeless. And I think that these are concepts that, if taught, especially to children, early childhood education to me is fascinating, because I think that if you have the right mindset, if you follow certain principles, you can live free. You can control your reality. You can live this quote unquote heaven on earth. And The Four Agreements talks about that. And you know, I try to live by it and constantly be reminded by these concepts, because I think that, you know, and everyone can benefit from that. It's all about, at the end of the day, it's all about like what's up here and what you believe to be true, your belief system. And if it's aligned and it's correct, then you can live free. And I hope everyone can, you know, be influenced that way.
In the chapter, Don't Take Things Personally, there's a line that says, misery loves company. Do you agree? Yeah,
I definitely agree with that. And I think that when it comes to misery, it's like that's why this book is so good, because like going back to the idea of like personal freedom, you get to choose if you want to be living in this misery. You get to decide if this is exactly how you want to kind of like manifest your life. It's like, there was a time in my life where I was so negative. I sabotaged everything I said. I was like, I'm not good at this. This is blah, blah, blah. And I kind of like soaked and bathed in that, you know? And you telling people and you make other people feel sorry for you, and you just, that's not kind of really the way to live. You want to ultimately keep a positive perspective and move forward.
How do you get out of negative self-talk?
Because I've been working on this for so many years, I like I said, it was like I was saying before, with negative self-talk, I tend to catch myself doing so. The first thing that comes to my mind is I say, like, is this truly how it is? Is this who I am? Does this represent me? Maybe I don't feel like I'm the best at certain X thing, but that's okay because I am at a certain level and I can only get better, just keep working at it, keep being exposed to it, keep it on the forefront of your mind, and you'll get through it. One of the hardest things I think anyone could do is learn a second language, especially as an adult. This is what I did. I learned Spanish.
That's cool.
Yeah. Life-changing. Actually, before I forget, there's this old Czech proverb that says, if you speak multiple languages, you live multiple lives. If you speak only one language, you live only one life. And I truly believe that. I think that I have this whole world and life in the Spanish-speaking realm of Earth that allows me to connect with the culture, be with the people, and go to a whole part of our world and a whole part of the map that I would say most of my family and colleagues from the United States don't have that luxury. And so being able to connect with Spanish speakers is incredible. But to your point, what I was getting at is, as you're learning a language, it's one of the most embarrassing things, especially as an adult,
Yes.
Yeah. You can relate to this. And you have to just kind of look past that and know that, the simple fact that you're putting forth this effort to learn another language, and just even say one thing, it could be one thing that you say at the right moment that you get all the points for, goes really far, and just really live and feed off of that like one little win that you have with the language and keep going with it. But I said so many things that were incorrect and embarrassing over the years, but I just knew that it's all good. This is just part of the process. You just keep going. I will say it was hard. It was hard to imagine I would be fluent one day. It was just like, it was hard to understand that concept. But
what's been your most embarrassing moment learning a new language? I already feel it.
I mean, considering my personality, I'm, in general, not the type to be, to tener vergüenza, to be embarrassed.
Sí.
I just kind of would say things and just, I would also try to pull the gringo card because I'm like, I'm a gringo, no entendí, no entiendo, I don't understand. But there was a time when I was sitting with my friend and his family. They live in Tijuana. And they live in this like really nice house in Tijuana, which is a beautiful experience I had. And they were really good friends with the local church, and they invited the priest over to have Sunday like brunch. And we were talking, and I was talking to them about my experience in Spain, study abroad, where I ran with the bulls. I did this experience.
Yeah.
And I was saying that there's a point where people are running up and like, there are people, there's kind of like this tradition, which now that I think about it, it's kind of sad, but people are going up and they're like smacking the bull, like on its ass, on its behind. Yeah. Right. And I'm telling this story in Spanish. The whole family's listening. The priest is right there. And instead of saying like on his trasero, like a nice way, on his behind, in Spanish, I said, y le pegué en su culo. And then the whole family, I didn't even know. I just thought it was like, that's how you say it. Yeah. And the whole family was like, bah! And they lost it. And, it was all good because, I know the gringo no entiende, he doesn't understand or whatever.
Yeah.
But that day I learned that, you can't just say the word culo in front of
right.
anyone.
And it depends who you're speaking to, who's around. Some words are more vulgar than others. I have a really funny story. I was dating a guy from Puerto Rico. I was 18 years old and I went to go visit his family. And I'm over there speaking Spanish. So I go, mira ese bicho. And for me, as a Cuban, mira ese bicho is look at that bug. Like, look at that cucaracha, look at the cockroach, look at the bug, right? And all of a sudden they all go like this. And I go, what? They go, do you know what bicho is? I go, yeah, a bug. They go, no, bicho for us is a male's private part. Yeah. And I go, wait, what? I'm over here thinking that Spanish across the board is all the same, like English is, and it's very different within different cultures. So that was something at an early age that I realized, because being born and raised in Miami around a lot of Cubans, our Spanish is pretty much similar for the most part. But when you start traveling to other countries, you really start realizing how different Spanish is within itself.
Yeah, the dialect changes so much and you're like, wait, what? How is it that they're saying this versus this over here?
Yes.
But I love those opportunities. I think they're really funny, and I think it goes along with, I think Hispanics are hilarious. I think the humor in Hispanic culture is incredible. And when you start playing around with words, especially different dialects, you can have a good time.
Yeah, it gets to be fun.
Funny. Yeah.
How have you been able to bridge the American culture with the Hispanic culture?
Yeah, this is what I stand for. This is everything that I've wanted. Currently, for example, I am basically putting on these events. They are Argentinian events, parties, and I'm doing this with my US-based audience. So Argentinos living in the United States, or Latinos living in the United States, or anyone really, people dating or people who are somehow connected with the culture. And I've been doing this for over a year now. We've done about 13, 14 events in all like major cities, New York, Miami, Washington, DC, San Francisco, LA. And just the simple fact that I'm able to bring this culture that I call my second home, Argentina, put on an event that the music is right, the theme is right, everything is Argentinian, and be able to place that into the United States, my home country, first language, and allow for anyone within the United States, within the Hispanic culture community, anyone to come in and be exposed to that and enjoy that and feel that, I think it's really cool to be able to turn to someone and be like, hey, there's this Argentinian party. Let's go to that. I bet most people wouldn't even know what that's even about. And so it was my dream to be in the States, create my own Latino Argentinian bubble, and be able to travel around and give people a place to bring their loved ones, their seres queridos, to an event that's so dear to them, so far away from home, which is Argentina, and be able to celebrate their culture in their home away from home.
Yeah.
It's that, and then it's just being able to make comments. Most of my content is in Spanish, but when I do do it in English, I try to, for example, some really popular content that I'm doing these days is interviewing people on the streets. I've been doing a lot of it in Brickell, where I will come across a Hispanic, and I'll kind of say like, hey, can I interview you for TikTok or Instagram, whatever? Because at first they're like, what is this about? I'm like, it's my content is about a gringo who wants to learn about, Latino Hispanic culture, So we start out, and the idea through fun series of questions, sometimes flirty, just, funny, and is to understand a little bit more about their culture. Teach me about your culture.
Yes.
What's your favorite dish? What's a dish from your country that if you had to use that one dish to make someone fall in love with you, what would that be? So they're all like, oh. And then they get really intense where they're like, oh, that one dish would be, or, give me that expression that I would have to say if I met someone who's from, Puerto Rico or Argentina or wherever. What would be that one expression that I would need to say to them to win them over, be it friendship or, whatever. And then, so I'm showing a lot of interest, and I'm teaching in English about this culture, this random person that I'm interviewing. And then I switch to Spanish, catch them off guard. The interview changes, goes into Spanish. And so it's a bilingual interview where I get to showcase a culture and do it in the United States. And these videos are doing really well.
Wow.
And on top of that, I'm reaching new audiences that I've never reached before. And more importantly, I've already had several people come up to me and say, thank you. And this, like, most people aren't talking about my culture in English. There's not a lot of English made content about my culture and the things that we say and do. And thank you. This is incredible. And so to me, that's like, it's todos, it's everything.
Wow, that's so powerful.
Yeah.
Have you dated a Latina?
Yes.
How's that been? I love the smile on your face.
Yes, I have dated a Latina. I mean, I'm more attracted to Latinas. I like that sazon. I like that spice.
You got that flavor, baby.
Yes. And it was good. It was always really, really good. You know, there's like a really, really good connection just because, you know, usually they're caught off guard by the fact that like, oh, you know, you're from the States. Your first language is English. Like what? You know? And I guess the response I always get is just, you know, the fact that you've shown so much dedication and interest into my culture just like makes me feel really comfortable with you, and it shows a little bit more of your like intentions and dedication, and you know. But with Latinas, man, you gotta be on guard. You gotta be ready. You know, you gotta treat them like a reina. You know,
yes, treat them like a queen.
But I like to play. I like to dance. I like to, you know, just that's kind of like my personality in general. And I feel like with Latinas, I can open up more, and I can be like loose, and they'll free. Understand it. And, you know, so see, a mí me encantan las Latinas. Yeah.
Are there any cultural differences you've had to overcome with dating Latinas?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, when it comes to, for example, jealousy, you know, I felt like I felt like I've dealt with more jealousy with Latinas than with, you know, girls from the United States, for example. Notice how I said girls from the United States. Most Latinos are from Argentina will always get on to me like, if you say American, we're American too, you know, because we're from South America. So, ojo, I had to learn that actually. That was like a big deal for me. It's like, you know, they're like, where are you from? Whatever. I'm like, I'm American. They're like, yo también soy americana or soy americana. I'm like, oh, well, technically this is true.
Wow,
you know?
I never even thought of it like that. You just taught me that.
So they adjusted the way I speak, which is really, really interesting.
Yes.
But I have my points to make with all that. But anyway, the point is that when comparing, you know, dating Latinas or Americans or whatever, I found that there was like a little bit more, maybe a little bit more jealousy happening within, you know, Latino community.
Yeah.
And just more passion, you know, but, you know, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I'll stick with that.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. Stay tuned to see where it leads you. Yeah. I love it. What's your heaven on earth?
Heaven on earth is just kind of following through with what I'm actually doing right now, which is, you know, bridging these two gaps, these two worlds that I hold dearly, Spanish speaking world, English speaking world, and uniting and having all of the people that I resonate with involved somehow, and seeing them often, talking to them, and I guess inspiring others to seek out to other cultures and do the same.
What's your tattoo?
Yeah, this tattoo, hay equipo. I'm really glad that you asked about this. This is a phrase that I learned in Argentina. Argentinians being so passionate, so much fun, just like the affection with Argentinian culture is, you know, Latinos in general, but Argentinians, man, you know, this is the first time in Argentina where, you know, it was kind of chocante. It was hard for me to accept at first, where, you know, when guys greet, they have this like Italian way of greeting where they touch cheeks and they're like, abrazo, you know, like, I was like, I'm not doing that, you know, but as time went on, I started to understand like, hey, this is all out of love. Let's embrace, let's be passionate and love one another. And so Argentinians, when it comes to celebration and when it comes to pushing someone to be better, they're so good at this. Yeah. And anytime there's a group situation and that group starts to kind of vibe, be on a buena onda, you might hear an Argentinian say, "Ay equipo," like "Ay equipo," and then everyone in unison is just like, "Ay equipo, sí, te quiero." And that moment is super special to me because it's when there is the perfect group cohesion. It's like the moment when this happens, this phrase is thrown out there, and it only solidifies and makes the cohesion even better because everyone's like vocally being impeccable with their words, expressing their love and their unity with one another in that moment. Ay equipo. And so I love this concept ever since I've gotten this tattoo, which is my only tattoo. It's been the best decision. I've been able to share this concept with everyone. And this concept not only is with like big groups, it could be in a relationship, in a partnership, you know, it's like, look at each other, you're like, ay equipo, you know, like we are one, we are together with this.
I'm taking that nugget.
Yeah, ay equipo. And so this is very much what I stand for. I love that it's in Spanish. I love that it's simple. It's minimalist. And, you know, again, just unity, bring people together. Ay equipo.
Love it. What's your favorite takeaway from the book?
Living mental freedom through love and happiness. You at the end of the day get to choose and control how you feel. And this book puts you into a mindset that, you know, you have so many different concepts coming at you every day, all the time, distractions. When you sit down and you listen or you read this book, it brings it all down very simple and makes you understand how you feel and how you want to feel. And you know, with everything being so, you know, social media these days, I work in social media, but with social media being so massive and distracting these days, these concepts, I think every person should live by and, you know, ultimately control their happiness through love and mental freedom.
Love it. So we're going to play a fun game now. Mm-hmm. It's called Mind Meld. So how this is going to work is we're both going to say one word, right? And the goal is eventually to get ourselves to say the same word.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
So as we're saying the words, try to find a common theme that's going to lead us to the same word.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
I'm so excited.
This is gonna be
fun. All right. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. 1, 2, 3,
Smile.
Books. All right, now we have to find a word between smile and books.
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, joy.
Dentist.
Dentist. All right, now we have to find a word between dentist and joy. Okay.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, teeth.
Oral care.
Okay, we're on the same thing, but one word. So now we have to find a word between oral care and teeth.
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3,
white.
Cavity. Okay. Now we have to find a word between white and cavity.
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3,
brush.
Floss. Okay, we're close. We're close. Okay. Now we have to find a word between brush and floss.
Okay.
1, 2, 3,
clean.
Cleanse. Oh, that's really close.
Does that work?
Does that work?
Cleanse and clean? I feel like it does.
I feel like that kind of works.
I'll take it.
I feel like we did that. We did that.
Ay equipo?
We did that. Ay equipo. Wait, high five on that one. Oh man, that was so good. Wow,
like
Cleanse
that.
and clean.
I've never played a game like that.
Yes, welcome to our
Thank
game.
You.
Our game segment. Yeah.
It's good.
It's been such a pleasure having you on. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a pioneer of bridging cultures together. Me as a Hispanic appreciate that more than you will ever know, because in a world that sometimes can be led by diversity, having somebody bring in that unity is really, really powerful. So I commend you, and I really send you all the love and light to continue down that path.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being here and connecting with you on on this book and through, you know, I don't know, we shared some cool connections. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Anytime. Where can people find you?
So I have a website, dustinluke.com. There you can see all my social media. You can maybe find me at my pronunciation academy. We teach English and Spanish pronunciation. You can maybe find me at one of my events called Alta Joda Fest, coming to a city near you. But DustinLuke.com is where you can get all my information. So very simple.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, there you have it. We just finished rapping with Dustin Luke discussing the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Please comment and let us know what your favorite agreement is. And if you haven't read the book, make sure to click the link in the description below to get your copy and get a copy for a child and read the book together. It's really that simple. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn the page. We'll see you in the next one. Shout out to our sponsor, Local Cold Brew Coffee.